The family tree of the Habsburgs, a German-Austrian ruling family whose domain stretched from Portugal to Transylvania, is a webbed one. Like many royal families, the Habsburgs made strategic marriages to consolidate their power. This meant that often, this was to close relatives. As a consequence of this inbreeding, generation after generation of Habsburg monarchs had sharply jutting jaws, bulbous lower lips and long noses. The Habsburg family rose to power quickly in Central Europe as the rulers of Austria, Germany, and even the Holy Roman Empire itself. Recent studies have found that the inbreeding of the Habsburgs was so severe that roughly 10% of all genes in the line were identical. This meant that genetic family traits, such as a large jaw over time, became more and more pronounced to the point where it caused problems for them. Research, led by geneticist Roman Vilas from Spain's University of Santiago de Compostela, focused on 15 members of the so-called Spanish Habsburgs. Vilas and his colleagues focused on family amoebas, whose appearances artists, including notables like Diego Velázquez, had documented in photorealism. The scientists determined that the average inbreeding coefficient of the Habsburgs they analyzed was abnormally high due to the generational tradition. In addition to quantifying how inbred each aristocrat was, the researchers asked mouth and jaw surgeons to look at the portraits. Vilas's team found that unfortunate-looking Habsburgs with high inbreeding that had the signature Habsburg jaw were more likely to have problems. The most talked about Habsburg from the line is the hideously deformed Was el Hechizado, or the bewitched Charles II. He was particularly cursed. Due to the extreme inbreeding of both his parents, Charles II was left in a sorry state. He had a long deformed mouth that he could not close. He had a tongue that was too big for his mouth, and a nose that looked permanently fixed to smell his awful breath. This poor soul could not even talk. Charles was so cursed that he was completely incapable of day-to-day life, and when he was forced to marry, it was not possible for him to reproduce. Charles was physically disabled, mentally retarded and disfigured. A large tongue made his speech difficult. He was bald by the age of 35. He died on the 1st of November 1700, 5 days before his 39th birthday. The autopsy records his heart was the size of a peppercorn, his lungs corroded, his intestines rotten and gangrenous. He had a single testicle, black as coal, and his head was full of water. These are indicative of hydrocephalus, a disease often associated with childhood measles, one of many illnesses contracted by Charles. The 35-year reign of Charles II has traditionally been viewed as one of decline and decay. In 1691, a foreign ambassador commented that, "It is incomprehensible how this monarchy survives. What are your thoughts on the Habsburgs and Charles II?"